2008 came, there was a negative growth. So I think this is what did, so kickstart, we had these interest rates play an important role, but at times what we started doing is we started giving money without even assessing the repayment capacity of the borrowers. Acute. Now the minute the crash happened, the crash overseas, the local banks over here also faced similar crises, and there was a credit crunch, and we all know non-banking financial institutions suffered, and obviously the banks stopped lending because they were preserving liquidity. Liquidity crisis was managed, I think, well by the State Bank of Pakistan. We created, backstop lines. I think, overseas investors who had withdrawn a lot of money started coming back. So I think we did, amend the monetary policy, now because now inflation at 25% demanded that we could not just introduce a kind of counter-cyclical policies in monetary, and fiscal deficit at 7.6% did not allow us to have counter-cyclical fiscal stimulus. So I think these policies were controlled, and I think if you see that the rates, the inflation started coming down, rates have come down slightly, but I think more rates should be down a bit. Now I think the ongoing energy crisis is affecting, especially on the SMEs, the people who cannot afford generators and others. But the FX position, I would say, is relatively stable. It was at almost 1%, 1 month of imports. Today is at around 5 months of imports, but still volatile. I think the government did take fiscal measures, which were politically difficult, but they did, bring down inflation from 25% to now around this year would be probably 12%, 12.5%. The expenditure was controlled, but I would not say that, obviously we have been able to control, the expenditures of these loss-making public enterprises. I think there's still a challenge, and I think the tight monetary policy which has been mandated. And by the way, when we talk about this, IMF conditionalities, and there was no IMF conditionality in terms of, these targets. These were our own self-imposed conditionalities, because if we wanted to stabilize the economy, we had to take these, measures. But there is a way of, IMF, to instill some kind of discipline, and I think that is continuing. Now, the economy is showing signs of stabilization, and I would say still green shoots, early days. I think inflation is slowing, interest rates are maturing, large-scale industries obviously is starting, to improve. GDP 4.1%, but early days. Revenue bases started expanding. Remember we dipped down to 8.8%. At 8.9. This year is 10.5. Workers' remittances through our program. The PRI, the Pakistan Remittance Initiative, moved up from $6.5 billion 07-08. This year probably touched $9 billion. And that's not too bad. $2.5 billion a year increase in remittances when the rest of the world, saw, remittances going down. By the way, I got a chart with me, in my office where, we were the best performing economy in terms of remittances. And I hope that we continue laying emphasis on this, because there is this market of almost $20 billion plus, the remittance market of Pakistan, where we still have $11 billion, which basically is used by the unofficial kind of market. And I hope that we go up to no less than 15 billion, and that will be additional 6 billion for this economy. And SME sector, I think, has obviously is yet to pick up, or rather it is begun now slowly. Now, coming back to the role of the CFO, I think what you need is, in this kind of environment, CFOs need to be empowered and enjoy strong support of the entire board of directors. I think they have to be provided all the resources, because CFOs now have become pivotal in terms of ensuring, transparency in the accounts and in the performance of the company. When Enron happened and others happened, obviously, CFOs were also, kind of put on the spot. And some of them obviously did not have all the power they needed. So decisions are taken by the boards and the chief executives, and the poor CFOs, end up, just taking the fall. So I think this is where I am just saying that, board of management CEOs must ensure the CFOs are given the proper kind of resources and they're given the proper kind of empowerment. Also, CFO function has to be embedded in all the businesses while ensuring financial transparency. I mean, it is not a function today that they will just prepare accounts, that they prepare financial statements and tell you exactly what is the P&L and balance sheet. No, they got to be embedded in all businesses. As a matter of fact, in the government, the two things which I just advise the government, as part of the good governance, one is you must have